containing complex necessary molecules is taken in the animal body and finally converted into soluble, usable forms by the process of digestion. The entire process of digestion includes ingestion, mechanical processing, digestion, secretion, absorption and excretion. Now, let us understand the meaning of digestion. The food taken by the animals cannot be used directly by the cells for metabolism of their body. Hence, by the process of digestion, complex foods are broken down both mechanically and chemically into water soluble molecules. These molecules are small for the body to absorb. The mechanical treatment of food is caused by teeth, tongue, palate and muscular contractions of stomach and intestine. The chemical treatment involves the process of hydrolysis, by which the complex food are converted into simpler monomeric forms by different enzymes. The anhydro bonds, which held the subunits of macromolecules, are broken down by addition of water in presence of enzymes. In this way, carbohydrates are converted into simple monosaccharides, proteins into amino acids, fats into fatty acid and glycerol, while nucleic acid into nitrogenous bases and pentose phosphates. The molecules are then used by the animals for producing energy and making other molecules. The digestive system helps in this process of digestion. The breakdown of food occurs outside cells within compartments. The general principles of food processing are similar for a variety of animals. So, we can use the digestive system of mammals as a representative example to understand the digestive system and the process of digestion. The digestive system is constituted by the alimentary canal and digestive glands. In human, the alimentary canal starts from mouth at the anterior end and continues up to anus at its posterior end. The various glands are associated with the alimentary canal, which are either located in its wall or they are present outside the canal. These glands pour their secretions through ducts into the canal. The canal is a long and coiled muscular tube measuring about 8 to 10 meters in length and is differentiated into mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. Now, we shall see the details of each parts. Mouth, also called oral cavity or buccal cavity. The mouth contains the teeth, tongue and palate. In mammals, we find the teeth are embedded in the sockets of the jaw, which are termed as thecodont dentation. There are two sets of teeth in human, which are milk or deciduous teeth present in children up to 6 years of age, which are then replaced by adult or permanent teeth and are so known as diphyodont dentation. The first set of teeth is 20 in number, while the second set has 32. There are various types of permanent teeth, which are incisors, canines, premolar and molars in each half of the jaw, and so are called heterodont type of dentation. The structure of teeth has three parts: crown, which projects above the gum; root, the basal part of teeth embedded in the jaw beneath the gum; and neck, present between the crown and root enclosed in the gum. In the milk teeth, there are two incisors, one canines, two molars in each half of the jaw, which sums up to 20 in the upper and lower jaw together. Similarly, in permanent teeth, there are two premolars and three molars, while incisors and canines are same as the milk teeth. This gives a total of 16 in each half, and together in both the jaws, the number is 32. The oral cavity of mammals contain 3 pairs of salivary glands. The pharynx, that is the second part of the alimentary canal. The pharynx or throat is differentiated by the uvula into dorsal nasopharynx, which transmits only air, middle oropharynx, which transmits both food and air, but only one at a time, and ventral laryngopharynx, which transmits only air. The posterior wall of pharynx has 2 large apertures, the dorsal gullet leading into esophagus and ventral glottis leading into larynx, which has a slit like opening called the glottis. A leaf like elastic movable cartilage plate called epiglottis hangs like a hood over the glottis. This coordinates the movement of air and food in the gullet. The oropharynx is continuous with the buccal cavity. Next is esophagus or the food pipe. The esophagus or food pipe is about 25 centimeters long, connecting the pharynx to the stomach. The posterior part possesses the muscular cardiac sphincter, which regulates the flow of food from esophagus to the stomach by peristaltic movements. Such movements are propulsive movements which initiates with an area of contraction that is preceded by an area of relaxation several centimeters downstream. Normally, this wave moves distally and is much weaker in the smaller intestine than in the esophagus and stomach. Peristaltic movements are due to a local reflex in response to distension. Histologically, esophagus has a thick muscular coat. Stomach. It is the thickest part of our gastrointestinal tract, lying in the abdominal cavity and is continuous with the stomach. This J-shaped organ is highly distensible due to abundant longitudinal folds of mucosa called rugae. The stomach is differentiated into cardiac and pyloric parts, which are guarded by the sphincters called cardiac and pyloric sphincters respectively. The cardiac stomach is further differentiated into upper fundus and lower body or corpus, while the pyloric stomach is again differentiated into pyloric antrum and pyloric canal. The end part of pyloric canal opens into the small intestine. The stomach serves as a temporary receptacle and reservoir of food. Small intestine. The long small intestine extends from the pylorus to the ileocecal junction. It is about 6 meters long and is again differentiated into 3 parts. The upper fixed C-shaped part called duodenum and measures about 25 centimeters long. It receives the common bile duct formed by the union of pancreatic and bile ducts. The middle mobile part is called jejunum, which is about 2.5 meters long, while the lowermost mobile part is known as ileum, measuring about 3.5 meters in length. The ileum connects to the large intestine at the ileocecal junction. There are about 4 to 5 million 1 millimeter long finger-like folds of mucosa called villi in the intestinal wall. The mucous membrane has brush border cells with microvilli. In between the villi are thin tubular folds containing intestinal glands which are called crypts of Lieberkühn. Large intestine. It continues with the small intestine and is thicker in size. It is about 1.5 meter long, extending from the ileocecal junction, guarded by the ileocecal valve up to the anus. It is divisible into cecum, colon and rectum. The cecum is a sac-like structure and distally continues into a worm-like blind tube called vermiform appendix. It is a vestigial organ measuring about 8 to 10 centimeter. The uncoiled colon is about 130 centimeter long and is divisible into ascending colon about 15 centimeter long, transverse colon measuring about 50 centimeter long, and descending colon about 25 centimeter long. And the last part is the sigmoid measuring about 40 centimeter long. The whole colon is marked by tape-like muscular cords called tenae coli or muscular tenae and pouch-like dilations known as haustra. These increase the surface area of colon cavity. Rectum. The rectum is the distal part of the large intestine and is about 16 to 20 centimeter long. The rectum opens into the anal canal at its lower end. On its internal surface, it has longitudinal folds. Anus. It is the terminal part of the large intestine which opens to the outside. It is guarded by two sphincters, namely internal and external anal sphincters. The mucosa of anal canal is folded into several vertical folds called anal columns. Now we shall see the histology of the human gut. The entire human gut contains 4 main layers or coat with slight variations in different parts. These 4 layers are serosa layer, which is the outer serous coat containing peritoneum in stomach. Muscular layer. It is the next layer and contains outer longitudinal muscle layer and inner thicker circular muscle layer. It is thick in esophagus. In stomach, the circular muscle layer is differentiated into middle circular muscle layer and the inner oblique muscular layer. Submucosal layer. It is the next layer on the internal side and contains thick layer of dense elastic fibrous connective tissue, blood and lymph vessels with nerve cells. Brunner's glands are present in this layer in the small intestine. The next innermost layer is the mucosa layer with outer muscularis mucosa and inner mucous membrane. It contains goblet cells which secrete mucus. The mucous membrane is thrown into large folds called rugae in stomach. Beneath this stomach surface layer, large number of simple tubular gastric glands are present which are arranged parallelly. In the intestinal part, absorptive cells called brush border cells with microvilli are present at its free ends. These help in absorption. Crypts of Lieberkühn are present here in the small intestine. This layer lubricates the large intestine and keeps it slimy and smooth. The goblets and absorptive cells are present in large intestine, but villi are absent on the inner surface of large intestine. The goblet cells are present in the rectum, which keep the rectum smooth by its mucus secretions. The digestive glands present in the various locations of the alimentary canal. The salivary glands. The mouth contains 3 pairs of salivary glands, which are submaxillary, located within the angles of the lower jaw, sublingual, present in the floor of the buccal cavity under the tongue, and parotid, the largest of all, present on each side of the face, below and in front of the ears. These glands secrete the saliva, which contains mucin, buffers, antibacterial agents and the digestive enzyme called salivary amylase. These glands are under the control of parasympathetic nerves. The next is gastric glands. Beneath the surface of the alimentary canal, There are large number of simple tubular glands which are arranged like parallel tubes. These are known as gastric glands. These produce the gastric juice. It is acidic in nature with a pH of 0.9 to 1.5. About 1.2 to 1.5 liters of this juice is secreted in a day in adults. It contains mainly proteolytic enzymes. There are different types of cells found in the gastric glands. These cells are located in the pits of epithelium lining of stomach. The name of the cells are the mucous neck cells which secrete mucus, the chief cells or zymogenic or peptic cells which secrete the gastric juice and enzymes, and the oxyntic or parietal cells which secrete the HCl. The goblet cells produce mucus which protects the epithelium. The gastric secretion is regulated by acetylcholine, gastrin and histamine. Next is liver and gallbladder. Liver is the largest gland in the body, located in the upper right side of the abdominal cavity. It consists of two lobes, the right and the left lobes. The right side has been further divided in two lobes, while the left side is divided into three lobes. The gallbladder is situated in the groove of right central lobe. Each lobe is made up of numerous hepatic lobules. Each lobule is composed of rows of polygonal cells radiating from the center. The lobules are separated from each other by a sheath of connective tissue fibers called the Glisson's capsule. At its each angle of this capsule, group of three thin vessels called portal triad are present. This portal triad receives hepatic portal vein, hepatic artery and interlobular hepatic ductile. The hepatocytes produces the alkaline bile with a pH of 7 to 8.5 and contains water, total solids, mucin and pigments like biliverdin and bilirubin, phospholipids, cholesterol, inorganic ions, sodium salts of taurocholic and glycocholic acid. The bile is collected by the hepatic ducts from each lobule and opens into the cystic duct which delivers the bile to the gallbladder. About 500 to 1000 ml bile is secreted in 24 hours. The bile is then stored in the gallbladder from where it is released into the duodenum. The next gland is pancreas. It is elongated, irregularly branched and flattened organ. It is the second largest gland of the body, having both endocrine and exocrine functions. The exocrine part is branched and has pancreatic lobules, which are flask shaped hollow lobules. These tubular acini contain zymogenic cells which secretes the pancreatic juice. The juices are released by the pancreatic duct into the duodenum. The daily output of pancreatic juice in adults is 1.5 to 2 liters. It is alkaline in nature with a pH of 7.5 to 8.2. It contains proteolytic, amylolytic and lipolytic enzymes. The endocrine part contains clusters of cells which are called the islets of Langerhans. These produces hormones. It contains the beta cells which produce the insulin hormone, alpha cells producing glucagon and delta cells producing somatostatin. Another cell called PP cell or F cell produces the pancreatic polypeptide hormone. The pancreatic juice secretion is regulated by secretin and pancreozymin. Bile secretion is regulated by cholecystokinin and hepatocrinin. These are the local gastrointestinal hormones. Both the glands are under the nervous control. The last is the intestinal glands. The mucus is secreted by Brunner's glands located in the proximal part of small intestine. The crypts of Lieberkühn contain zymogenic cells which secrete digestive enzymes and argentophin cells which secrete the 5-hydroxytryptamine. These secretions along with mucus constitute the succus entericus or the intestinal juice. About 1 to 2 liters of juice is secreted in adults in 24 hours. It is alkaline in nature with a pH of 6.3 to 9. The intestinal juice production is being regulated by nerves and stimulated by the local hormones enterocrinin and diocrinin. Now, let us understand the process of digestion in the gut. Digestion in mouth. The teeth, tongue and palate help in chewing the food and mixing with the slightly acidic saliva so that food is broken into simple molecules for the enzymes to act on it. About 1 to 1.5 liters of saliva is secreted in 24 hours in human. The salivary amylase or ptyalin enzyme is present in saliva which hydrolyzes polysaccharides into maltose. Insignificant amount of maltase present in saliva converts some maltose into glucose. The food is now converted into a ball called bolus, which is pushed by the help of tongue and palate into the pharynx and then into esophagus. In stomach, by the help of peristalsis movement, the food is conducted from esophagus to the stomach for chemical and mechanical digestion. The churning movement inside the stomach helps in proper mixing of food with the enzymes, HCl and gastric juice. The partially carbohydrate digested food in the stomach mixes with highly acidic juice. The HCl present in the stomach activates pepsinogen into pepsin. This enzyme begins the digestion of proteins into peptones by breaking the peptide bonds. Prorenin is converted by HCl into renin, which converts casein into para-caseinate. This enzyme is absent in adult. The little gastric lipase present in gastric juice is activated by calcium ions and hydrolyzes the fats to fatty acid and glycerol. The semi-liquid food is now acidic and is called chyme. In small intestine, the chyme enters the duodenum when the pyloric sphincter is opened and comes in contact with the pancreatic secretions, bile and intestinal secretions. All secretions are alkaline in nature and convert the acidic chyme into alkaline chyle. Bile emulsifies fat and disperses them into many tiny droplets, increasing the surface area for the enzymatic actions. They activate lipases and also help in absorption of fatty acids, fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E and K, calcium and iron. It also promotes peristalsis and pancreatic juice secretion. Among the proteolytic enzymes of pancreatic juice, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, carboxypeptidases are secreted as inactive enzymes except elastase, collagenase, etc. Trypsinogen is activated by enterokinase of intestinal juice, while the activated trypsin in turn activates chymotrypsinogen and carboxypeptidase. These converts the peptones and remaining proteins into proteoses and polypeptides. Elastase, collagenase, protaminase act on elastin, collagen and protamines and convert them into simpler forms. The amylolytic enzyme called pancreatic amylase or amylopsin converts starch into maltose, isomaltose and little glucose. The lipolytic enzyme called steepsin, phospholipase and cholesterol elastase converts the emulsified fats into fatty acid, diglycerides and monoglycerides. Nucleases are also present which convert the nucleotides. These semi-digested foods are now finally digested in the small intestine by the help of alkaline secretions from Brunner's gland. It produces the alkaline juice and contains mucin and proteolytic enzymes. The crypts of Lieberkühn produces mucus and other different enzymes. The intestinal juice or succus entericus contains enterokinase, aminopeptidase, tripeptidases and dipeptidases, which hydrolyzes the polypeptides into free amino acids. The amylolytic enzyme called sucrase converts sucrose to glucose and fructose. Maltase and isomaltase hydrolyzes maltose and isomaltose into glucose. Lactase converts lactose to glucose and galactose. Small amount of lipase and phospholipase deals with only little quantity of leftover fat and phospholipids into fatty acids, glycerol, phosphoric acid and choline. Polynucleotidases, phosphatases and nucleosidase complete the digestion of nucleic acid in the small intestine. In large intestine, the colon receives the residues of undigested and unabsorbed food. Resident microorganisms convert remnant carbohydrate to carbon dioxide and organic acids, lipids into fatty acid and glycerol, proteins into amino acid and ammonia. In man, some resident bacteria are present which digests the residues and act on digested materials and form certain toxic amines, phenols and useful vitamins like K and B complexes. Now, let us see the absorption in the gut. The main site of absorption is small intestine by the aid of numerous villi and microvilli. Each villus is provided with blood capillaries and lacteals. The end product of carbohydrates and proteins are absorbed into the portal system by the blood capillaries, while the end product of fat digestion enters the lacteals of villi. The oscillating and propelling movements of villi also help in absorption. Most of the final digested products like amino acid, glucose, fructose, etc. and fatty acids are absorbed by the intestinal villi from where it enters the blood circulation. Glucose, amino acid, sodium chloride and end products of fat digestion are absorbed by active absorption method. The remaining food now enters the large intestine, which mainly absorbs water, glucose, alcohol, etc. The osmotic pressure plays an important role in absorption. The large intestine absorbs all the residual water and forms the solid stool. Fat soluble vitamins like vitamin D, E and K and provitamin A are absorbed in the small intestine under the influence of bile salts. Vitamin D is absorbed in the ileum and vitamin C and B complex in the duodenum and jejunum. A little vitamin K is also absorbed in the large intestine. Stomach and large intestine absorb a little amount of mineral salts, but mostly absorption takes place in the small intestine by the portal blood. The absorbed food enters the cell and is utilized for synthesis of complex biomolecules such as protein, fats, carbohydrates and nucleic acids along with energy. The remnants are stored in the rectum from where they are defecated by the anus. So, in conclusion, in this model we have seen the parts of the digestive system and their functions in the process of digestion. Various biochemical steps are involved in the process of digestion and absorption of molecules derived from the food, as we have seen here.